This is Casper de Nora, and you're watching the Chat with Chaps live show.
Good evening and welcome to the Chat with Chats live show. I'm your host, Joe Zampa, and today we've got a fantastic show. What a win makes such a big difference, doesn't it? I tell you what. First up is the one and only, he's back again, Disco Steve. How you doing, Disco? You good?
Evening, Joe. I'm really good. I've just left Gordon Hill about 5 minutes ago. We finished finally having a chat after last week. So
Finally.
Great interview if anybody's not seen it. But yeah, good to see you all, guys. Looking forward to tonight.
Excellent, good stuff. And next to yourself is the one and only George Cole, TikTok George. How you doing, George? You good?
Very well, Joe. Very well. Very well.
Good. I heard a little birdie told me that you've been up in the rafters at Millwall the last couple of weeks in the press box. Tell us about it.
I've been in the fancy seats. Yes, upstairs in the media lounge upstairs at the den. It's been a great experience. Honestly, it really has. Mark Litchfield, lovely bloke, works at the football club. He's really done me a solid there, and I'm gaining some really good experience up in the press box, meeting some good people. So yeah, enjoying the journey so far, enjoying the experience, and hopefully more to come.
Good stuff. Are you at a stage where you can ask Alex little questions at the end of the game and things like that at the moment?
Yeah. So I sat in the last two. So I didn't go to the West Brom game, but the Watford and the Coventry game, I sat in his press conference after the game, and it's weird, really, when you go into these press conferences, because you've got all these people who obviously experienced. They know what they're doing. They're asking him questions, and then sort of maybe gets to me, and I don't really know what to ask him at that point. But certainly going forward, I'm going to hopefully ask Alex Neil some questions, maybe some viewers' questions, etc. going forward. So, but it's a great experience. Really enjoying it.
Sounds good. Excellent. Keep us posted on that. And then last but not least, he's back off Delhi Daycare. It's the one and only Danish destroyer, Jesper Dangard. How you doing, Jesper? You good?
I'm great, Joe. Thank you, and always good to be on. Before I've got a week's holiday coming up in France and Switzerland, so I just managed to squeeze this one in here on Tuesday. Yeah, and good. From hell to heaven, the other way around, I guess, from last week. So it's something positive to come on here and talk about. That's great.
What a contrast! And are you come at the end of your 6 month paternity leave? I know I keep extending it by a month.
I know. You're trying to over exaggerate, but I could actually take 6 months if I wanted to. It's all about how we share it between the missus and then the.
God.
It is, yeah. I've got 3 months. So I've got 3 weeks left. Yeah, it's good.
I bet you can't get back to work, can you?
It'll be good to come back as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Right. Let's go to the chat. Before I forget, sorry. Please make sure you do your bit and like and subscribe to the channel. As you know, everything we're making this channel goes to Cancer Research UK. So you do your bit just by subscribing and please giving us a like to the show. So if you're here and you're listening, please do that if you can. And Disco's gone. But before we leave them any longer, let's go to the chat and see who's in the room. So first of all is the one and only Cole Bracey. How you doing, Cole? You good? Billy Smith, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Jeff Chandler, friend of the show. How you doing, Jeff? There we go. Sorry. And the one only John MFC, another donation from John. John, so good to see you on Saturday, mate. I've got a little something to share with you there. For guys that don't realise that John won the bid for the George Savile shirt. So there's a nice picture of myself, John and Chris, just presenting him with the 2021 George Savile shirt. This is the first season when he come back on a perm. So there you go, John. That's a lovely photo, and it was great to meet you, spend a bit of time you having a beer with you during the beginning ceremony of the game there. So good to see you, John. And who else we got in the chat? Where we go? Wall Line, hope you're well. Alex S, hope you're good, mate. Hope you're well, Jeff. Hope's all well. George, how are you? Hello, Dave. Hello, Leslie. Hope you're well. Evening, Hughesy. Hope you're well, mate. Sticks, good to see you. Hello, Colin, Simon, how are you? Rain day in USA. Well, there you go. We're going international. Chris Brown, hope you're well, mate. Mark Murphy, good to see you. Hello, Ben. Has the Jose sign? Not just yet. Disco, there you go. Jay's FMFC, Gaz Lyon, good to see you. The lovely Roslyn, hope you're well, Roslyn. Billy Smith, good to see you. Craig, how are you? Hope you're well, Rob. And there you go. I think we've covered pretty much everyone. Oh, there you go. Spencer, late entry into the room, and Danny Chappell. Joe, do you know where you can buy an anorak, mate? No chance. Harry, good to see you, mate. Right, there you go. Right, before we start the show, I need to give a shout out. This is one that Chris asked me to do for him. There's a couple of Millwall fans called Jad and Joe that are raising money for a charity called HIS, which is HIS, stands for Help Information Support. And basically, it's a mental health charity. And Jad and Joe are doing the grueling cycle from Millwall to Paris. I believe it's on the 18th of October. I could be wrong, but it's around about that sort of time. And they try and raise lots of money. I think they've got about £1,000 raised so far. And they want to send us a little video. So I'm going to play this little video for you now, guys. It's not very, very long. Just bear with me so I can play it to you now. Give us 2 seconds.
Hello everyone, I'm Jad. I'm Joe. And Millwall fans, we need your help. We're taking on an adventure. We're taking these bikes behind us here from Millwall all the way to the Eiffel Tower. That's right, on the 18th of October, these two South London boys are going to be taking that journey all the way from London to Paris.
And we're doing it in aid of men's mental health, guys. And we need your help to share this video and donate as much money as you can.
That's it, get the message spread, and any challenges you want us to see doing along the way, let us know.
There you go. Guys, please, if you can find it in your hearts to give them a small donation. It doesn't matter how small it is. Could be a couple of quid, a fiver, whatever you can spare be really massively helpful. I'm going to put the posts for their Just Giving page in the chat. So that should come through any second. And we will put a link in the YouTube channel at the end of the show. So guys, you can click on that and donate. So good luck to Jad and Joe for that. Hope it all goes well, mate. So first of all, Saturday, Millwall 3, West Brom 0. What a fantastic response to the midweek loss to Coventry. I don't know where Disco is. Is he back in, Disco? There he is. He's back here. What a fantastic response to a 4-0 loss against Coventry. Jesper, do you want to kick things off for us? What's your thoughts on the performance on Saturday?
Very good, I would say. I was grueling a bit about the game beforehand because I didn't really know what to expect, after the Coventry game. 3 defeats and 4 home games was not exactly good, and West Brom, being the best away side, at least before we played them, didn't really set us up nicely. But as Ben said the other week, the law of averages, being the best away team, then they had to lose against us, and they did. So that was, extremely positive, and I think we dealt with the conditions, the weather conditions very well, and we were solid and we were tough to break down. I don't think, apart from a short spell in the first half, I think they had like 5 minutes where they had a few crosses in, and second half they tried, towards the end, but besides that, we were in full control, and I think we fully deserved the win. Took our chances, were clinical and scored some good goals. Femi, of course, with goal of the game, but I think the third goal for me was more pleasing. The way we attacked, with a great overlap. We run at the defense. We get in behind them, and what great finish that was from Sack as well. And I hope that we will see more of that from him, because I think he has it in his locker. I think he played a really, really good game. Don't know if he was the man of the match, but he was certainly my man of the match. Really, really good performance, and I think overall just a really, really good team performance, and much needed. Not just that we won, but also the scoreline as well was, I think, a bit important for us, since we lost 4-0 to Coventry, and I think we had to bounce back in that manner. So, yeah, very, very pleasing, I have to say.
Brilliant. Cheers for that, Jesper. Going to yourself, George. I mean, what's your take on the performance? The result was brilliant, wasn't it?
I think it shows how quickly things can change in football. I think after Wednesday night's disaster against Coventry, losing 4-0 at home, there was obviously a huge reaction on social media. Couple of rogue shouts for Alex Neil out. Certainly debate over our home form, how easy we are maybe to be at home. We were the second lowest goal scorers in the league. So a huge reaction on social media after Wednesday night's defeat, in which Millwall were totally outplayed and Coventry were much the dominant team and deserved to win. But again, shows how quickly things can change, because only a few days later we then come up against a very strong West Brom team who are also doing well towards the top end of the division. And to beat him 3-0. And I think the most pleasing thing was the reaction, really, after what was a really poor night, with the fans obviously not being happy at all. To then go again on the weekend, only a few more days later, and to get a result like that, to score 3 goals, to get a clean sheet, and more importantly, we're going into this international break now. We're all of a sudden on a high, and a couple of days before that, it was almost the opposite, the complete polar opposite. So now we're going into this international break on a huge high. So massive result, great performance from the lads, and going into this international break in 8th position in the table, 4 wins out of 9. We're doing okay. We're doing okay.
Yeah, cheers for that, George. I'm going to come back to you in a second, George. I know you've got some stats to share with us as well. Before we do that, Disco, just coming to you, mate. What did you make of the performance and that the overall sort of, I guess, score line, everything else that couples with that, really?
I mean, look, Joe, when can you hear me okay? I take it. Yeah.
Yes,
good.
yes, yeah.
Sorry, I'm on an iPad tonight for the first time, and I'm fiddling about with buttons, and that's why I got shunted out. So I'm back on now. But listen, when will we learn that it's just Millwall, innit? The minute you're right down on your asses, everybody fearing the worst, and I must say, at an hour before kickoff with 7 changes, one of them not being the one I really wanted, which was Bender in goal. Don't want to dig certain individuals out, but he is the weak link for me right now, but we'll probably come on to that. But when will we learn that when we're at our absolute lowest, we are the team that then just turn something totally around and put on a great performance? Let's be honest. For me, for 90 minutes, our best performance of the season, right across the park. Many players playing really well, some excellently well. The bench was immensely strong, and so much so that, as we'll probably come on to, players missing or not selected that you would choose. But at the same time, we have got a real spoilt for choice at the moment, and Alex is going to have even more challenges coming up in the coming weeks. But look, great performance, great result, some superb goals, which was, isn't it so much nicer when we hit the back of the net. And I know Chris said in his review that the atmosphere was pretty flat. I only watched it on the stream, but it seemed like it was a lot more buoyant than Coventry, that's for sure. And I know a lot of tourists there and what have you, but the whole thing seemed an absolutely more positive experience, and really shows we're not a bad side. We can compete in this league, and it's very open league this year. And even Coventry, everybody's creaming themselves about Coventry. They're good. I'm not sure they're as good as everybody's raving about. We shouldn't have lost 4-0, but we'll maybe cover that. But look, it's a very open league. We looked really good Saturday, and bring on the next game for me.
Brilliant. Cheers for that, Disco. And we will talk about the players individually in a second. But before we do that, just want to get your steer, Jesper. I mean, bipolar Millwall a little bit. 1 minute, last game we're thinking that's it. We're doomed. We'll be fighting relegation this season. Next minute, it's kind of like HMS Pistol League again, isn't it? So where do you see us sort of in regards to where we are sort of status-wise, position-wise? We've got a lot of players coming back. More players coming back after the international break. Do you feel that maybe now Alex Neil's got the full squad back again almost, and they can now implement the kind of tactics or formation he wants to kind of see us play?
Yeah, I think he has now, right? I think it's only Casper and who's the last one missing? I think Doughty as well, right? So I think we have more or less a full squad available now, and I think that cannot be used as an excuse also going forward. Now we've got the personnel available to have a good starting 11, regardless of who we play in the coming weeks and month. So I think what we need to see now is obviously some continuity, some consistency in terms of performances going forward, because it has been a bit like hot and cold, hasn't it? And I think this performance combined with the Crystal Palace and Norwich performances, other than that, we've been sort of average. But again, we've been missing players. We've changed systems. Players have played in various different positions as well. So it's been difficult as well to sort of see where we are. And I think we all thought going into the season where we're going to play 4-4-2, with Ivanovic and Coburn scoring 20 and 25 each. Doesn't look like that's going to happen now. So I don't know if it's a case of going a little bit back to the drawing board now and finding out what is our strongest 11, because I even struggle to see now who is our best 11 at the moment. I think we saw glimpses on Saturday who could be. I definitely think, with Ballo and Aziz getting an assist and a goal as well, shows you that, there are definitely two players on the wings that we can count on, hopefully. Sturridge as well looked very good. But then you're going to have Kasper back. Is he going to start, and who is he going to replace? And what about Will Smallbone? I know we're going to touch on them individually, but for me, it's also like, a question mark there, because I know Alex Neil said he had a good game. I didn't see much from him, but maybe that's just my point of view. So where does he fit in, et cetera, et cetera? I just think that there's still many question marks in terms of, we're definitely not the finished article. And I'm still struggling to see, what is our strongest 11 actually at the moment. There are some players that are nailed into positions, Coops and I think Kasper when he comes back, and Aziz as well. But there are many positions that are still up for grabs, I'd say, especially in the front department.
Yeah, no, very, very good point there, Jesper. Thanks for that. George, coming to you next. What would you say was the biggest change on Saturday? I mean, talking about the shape and the formation and the players that were playing. What was the biggest change in comparison to Coventry, in your opinion?
I think it's easy to look at the injuries, of course. I mean, just having Femi Aziz fit, you see how good he was. Will Smallbone obviously came in. Josh Coburn coming back, he was missing midweek. But yeah, I think over the course so far of this season, I think you have to be satisfied with how Millwall are doing, just simply because I don't think Alex Neil and the team have had a proper crack at the whip so far because of the number of injuries. I know someone just put it in the comments there, but we've had 20 plus injuries so far this season, which is just absolutely ridiculous. So to be sitting 8th in the table, only 5 points off the top, still unbeaten away from home. And granted, I'm not sort of, trying to granted, our performances over the course of the season so far have been average. And you do feel like Millwall can go up another level still now that these players are fit. But that can only be seen as a positive. The fact that we are only being average so far this season and still look at where we are in the table, still look at certain results, still look at the fact that we're unbeaten from home. It's we as a team and as a club, we've got the potential now to go up the next level now that these players are hopefully going to be coming back, and fingers crossed, remaining fit.
Yeah, no, great, excellent point. Disco, obviously, we looked a lot sharper on the break, the pace with Ballo and Aziz playing far right. It almost seems a slight change of formation there. I think Anjo mentioned it in his analysis, didn't he, that Leonard adopted the kind of more deep role as a right back, which allowed Aziz to really attack that flank. And in turn, Sturridge was the one playing really hard at the pitch, wasn't he? With Ballo sort of like cutting in a little bit. Do you feel that kind of that balance suited the team? Did we kind of have the right sort of balance for the formation as well?
Well, it looked at Joe, didn't it? On the evidence, you'd say 100% it worked. I mean, look, in fairness, Alex is still tinkering, still playing with the formation and the players that he's using to find the right combination. And look, I'm not going to get too carried away about the Coventry loss. Similarly, I'm not going to get too carried away about a nice win against West Brom. It was fantastic. But let's keep our feet on the ground. There's plenty to do. I think the main difference was in it, and I think Alex alluded to it, didn't he? It's a bit frustrating, but if we give the opposition the ball and press them and then get them on the break, we look a much different outfit to actually having the ball and having to exert our pressure onto the opposition. And much as we want the latter eventually, we're not ready for that right now. So we've got to cut our cloth accordingly. And I think he did that. It's amazing, isn't it? You know, the thinking that goes behind each game. Who'd have thought that we'd have had more possession than Coventry, and they beat us 4-0, you know. So look, much better all round. Some really standout performances as well. But West Brom was slightly jaded, and I think they made changes that they maybe regret now. But it's a squad game. You've got to chop and change and get the right formation. Their fans will be mad that he rested a couple of the strikers, but in his manager's mind, he'll be thinking, look, you know, I've got to manage their minutes, etc. Although as fans, you'd say, well, hang on, there's an international break coming up. You know, stick them in. They're on form. They're flying. Stick them in and then rest them. So, look, who cares? You know, he made the wrong choices. But did we play well? Did they play badly? And the same with Coventry. You know, who knows? It's a mix of both, I'd imagine.
Yeah, nice one, Disco. Jesper, coming to yourself next. I mean, before we talk about the players that played and honourable mentions to those who did well, there were certain players that weren't picked to play. There were certain players that wasn't even in the squads. One being Reis Bangura Williams was a bit of a surprise for all of us. What did you make of that? I mean, was it fair to drop him out of the squad? And how is this going to help his development? You know, as a young player that we hope that can break into the first team this season.
I think it's a really tough question, Joe, because you know I think Alex Neil really does rate him. I also do believe that he was a bit injured in pre-season, wasn't he? And at the start of the season, and was coming back. Was he suffering from some illness as well? I'm not using this as an excuse at all.
No, you're right. He had a bit of bad luck.
But he might just be working his way back to actual 100% as well, and maybe need some game time at the under 21s and not just bench appearances in the first team. But it's really tough now with everyone coming back. If we had Doughty and we also had Casper, there will be even 2 more he would have to drop. So it's a really, really strong squad now. And in terms of RBW, I have no questions about that. We will see him eventually in the squad. He will get games as well. It's a long old season. We've only played 20% of the season, so he will get his chance. So it's about him now, making sure he's ready. He's fit, and when he comes on, he can only do what he's been doing also against the likes of Charlton, coming in, making a difference, and being the player that he is. So I think Alex Neil will look after him, and he also said himself that he had a chat with him about why he was not picked. It's a big part of being a manager that you manage these young players correctly, and make sure you tell them the reasons behind your choices, etc. So I have no doubt about Alex Neil's capabilities in that department. So yeah, I was a bit surprised, but I have no doubt that we will eventually see him on the pitch again.
Yeah, nice one. Not to the same extreme, George, but we've seen, Roman Esse sort of being cast out to under-21s for Palace at the moment, and you like to think, this is going to hinder his development because he wants to be playing first team football. What we can't afford is Reis to kind of rot in the under-21s now, can we, and not sort of see any glimpses of first team football. So, would a loan be more practical in January, or do you still feel there's a chance for him to break into his first team and stake a claim for a position in the team?
Yeah, I think any talks about a loan, I think you'll have to put that on hold until January comes around, because when January comes around, when the transfer window is open, we might be in a completely different spot to where we are now, injuries-wise, squad-wise. But I say, just going off what Jesper was saying, he's been extremely unlucky, because when he has had the opportunity, he's played really well. But now that you've got more and more senior players coming back, it's even harder for him now to break into the team. And it's not... Alex Neil mentioned after his post-match, I think it was against Coventry, where people were crying out from, where is he? Why did he not come off the bench, etc. It's nothing to do with application or attitude. As a manager, he's got a really hard decision there. And then you've got senior players who, let's have it right, have been bought for money. Okay, Knights of Negley, Aziz, Tieno Ballo, they've all been bought for money, whereas Reis Bangura Williams has come from non-league. We've not paid almost a single penny for him.
Even Smallbone, you can imagine what the loan fees cost us as well. So you're right, you've got to kind of get that value for your money, didn't you, a little bit? Which is it fair on Reis though? I guess
No, it's not. And also, I'm not saying that the club are telling Alex Neil you have to pay the players we've paid for, But he's extremely unlucky on Ray's Bangura Williams, who should have got more minutes after very impressive cameos against Charlton and Crystal Palace. But from now till at least a couple of weeks' time in the future, it's hard really now. Where do you see him fit in? Does he even get on the bench almost, because we've got all these players coming back? So he's been extremely unlucky. He's been unfortunate. But from a player's point of view, all he's got to do now is just get his head down, keep working hard in training, and he will get his opportunity again eventually. And when he does get his opportunity, he will take it, because he's extremely talented and he is more than good enough to play for us on a regular basis.
Perfect. Nice one, George. I love that. Disco, coming to you. Last point on Ray's Bangura Williams. I mean, Jesper and George are both in agreement that he is somebody that can make things happen. I mean, he played for the under-21s against Watford yesterday. They lost 3-1, but he played the number 10 role, and he had a reasonably good game. He set up the goal for Sheldon Kendall, where he drove through the middle and put a beautiful ball into him, which allowed him to shoot from the right side of his left foot. So it just shows you, okay, you can argue it's only 21 levels, but that's what Reyes is about, isn't he? You may see him fairly quiet for 50, 60 minutes, but he'll pop with that little bit of brilliance running and create a little bit of magic from somewhere. It'll be a pass or a dribble or a shot or a goal. That's what he gives us, doesn't he? I mean, how do you see this going forward now with all the extra choices we've got of personnel at the moment? It's quite tough, Alex Neil, to pick him in the squad, it seems.
Yeah, Joe, listen, strange one. Let's be honest, and let's be honest. I think Alex put his balls on the table on Saturday before the game. I don't think there were many fans looking at that and thinking, you ain't even got him in the squad and he's fit. If people knew he was fit, which, look, without being, we knew he was. It was a strange and ballsy decision. He's got his reasons. I trust Alex. He'll have his reasons. He's not going to share them with us, but I'd really interesting to know what more they want from Reyes. And like George has just said, is it tracking back? Is it, his game awareness? Is it, well, I don't know. There'll be something that he feels he's lacking in, which he's only going to get better if he plays. But look, that's by the by. Let's be honest, 80% of Millwall fans, I think, at least, would have him at least in the squad and on the bench, if not starting. So to not even be on the bench, it's really... Look, we can all have our own view. Should it be a Maku? Should it be Langstaff? Should it be another midfielder who doesn't come in? We've all got our own views, but should he be in the 19 or however many it is these days, 20, is it 19, whatever? He should be in that squad. So that's worrying. And watch stand by your beds, lads. There's another 2 coming back from fitness. So that tells you.
That's right. Good point.
He's even further away. Now, I think it will be horses for courses. Certain games he might think he's the right player for that game. But I really feel for Reyes. What more has the lad got to do? And look, unlike probably a lot of you, he's not the finished article. I think he's got a lot of development, and I can see some flaws in his game, but I can see, can he make a difference? 100%. Is he technically brilliant? Yes. And look at Charlton, look at the difference he made in that game, look at the difference he made in the Palace game. And the real strange thing, Joe, that I'll finish on, he absolutely fits our model at the moment of play a young player who's talented, watch him excel, and then suddenly, January, people are knocking on our door offering us 10 million for him. And we're all saying, fuck off, we don't want it. It's got to be 15, 20. So he fits the model, and yet he's not in the squad. So, look, I trust Alex, but I'm very surprised with that decision, and I'll stand by that.
Yeah, and of course, he signed a long-term contract, isn't he, recently? So we tied him to, I don't know what it's like, 4 years or 5 years, whatever it is. But I mean, you mentioned he's got may have a couple of, I won't call them flaws, but you said there's a couple of areas that maybe you feel could be slight weaknesses. Are you happy to share that with us? What you think? I know we're not coaches. We don't really know, but just from a fan's perspective, what would you say there might be?
Joe, I did coach my son from under 7s to under 15, so I
think there you go. Yeah. You know what he's talking about.
No, look, look, absolutely. I'm not at the level where I'd have a clue. As I say, we'll never find out. Maybe historically we will. But what flaws do they feel he's got to make? I do think he goes missing in games. If I'm honest, I think George mentioned it, or Jesper, that he can be a bit quiet in games. And maybe have we really got his right position yet? I mean, I know you're all passionate. He's a 10. I'm not, and I'll be honest, I'm not sure about this whole bloody 10 lark for us anyway. We all get paranoid about a 10. 3-4 in midfield for me, with an attacking midfielder, which I think Race and I think Smallbone can play, and Cundle, by the way.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and Negley. There's so many
Negley. Yeah. Good point. Forgot about him as well. So yeah, probably the biggest one, Joe. He does go missing in games, a little bit quiet, but then he can change a game like that. The guy is talented. We put Romain Essay in last season, and he was far from the finished article. And we played him game after game after game. We let him make errors. We let him have a bit of a free hand and got him confident. I imagine if we did that with Reis right now, we'd have an absolute gold mine on our hands.
You can imagine where he'll be now, wouldn't he? You know, and scoring even more amazing goals or getting amazing assists. But let's hope this, like George said, there's a long way to go, and hopefully things can change between now and January. We're going to start talking about the players. I'm going to come to you first, Jesper, to talk about player performance. Before we do that, George, I know you've got some stats for us. I saw your TikTok video earlier, and a lot of fans are sort of thinking, oh, God, we're having a bad start of the season and we should be doing better. We've had some real bad, heavy losses. But where would you say we are, George, at the moment in regards to how many games in at the moment? Is it 8 games in, 9 games in?
9 league games in.
Okay.
9 league games in. And I think sitting 8th in the table is probably a fair reflection of where we're at. You know, the metric can be slightly skewed because maybe in previous seasons, the amount of points we got maybe wouldn't have us this high up in the table. But saying that, we're currently 8th in the table, which since our promotion in 16-17, our first season back in the Championship was 17-18. Since then, this is our second best start to a Championship season regarding the league table. Only 2021 where we were 7th after 9 games. Obviously, we currently sit 8th. This is our second best start to the season. So again, the same what I was saying earlier, the fact that we're still unbeaten away from home as well, and we've managed to slog a few draws here and then. It's not been we're doing okay in the grand scheme of things with the number of injuries we've got, and say the performances have maybe been a bit hit and miss at times. We're doing okay to be 8th in the league table so far after 9 games. And say in previous seasons, I mean, last year at this time, we were 18th in the table. Season before that, 14th. 22-23, and the season before that, 2021-22, we were 19th. So for a team and for a club which are predominantly slow starters, to have us where we are in the table right now is actually a pretty good start, in my opinion. We're doing all right.
There you go. Lots to be optimistic about, Millwall fans. So cheers for that, George. So Jesper, coming to yourself now. Talk about player performances, individual performances. I mean, Jake Cooper got the first goal, a decent goal. To be fair, he should have scored from that area, but he still had to put it away. Femi Aziz scored an absolute screamer, didn't he? And of course, Zach Stone scoring his first goal for Mill with a great finish, a little 1-2 with Ballo. Is there any honourable mentions, any players for you that you really stood out on Saturday you want to kind of give a bit of a mention to?
I think I already mentioned Zach Sturridge, didn't I? Firstly, we had a really, really strong game defensively and also going forward. Could have had 2 goals. I think if he gets there half a second earlier than he did in the first half, he gets on the end of the cross from Aziz and then he gets 2 goals. Really good performance. But again, I have to say Billy Mitchell, he is probably one of the players under Alex Neil who has probably, for me personally, improved the most. The way he takes on the game, you can see his confidence, the way he navigates with the ball, and he doesn't just pass it sideways and backwards. He gets an assist actually on Saturday. I think we have to remember that for Femi's goal. It's just been really positive to see him grow and flourish under Alex Neil, and you can really see the trust that Alex has in Billy, when he plays. So he's been probably one of the most pleasing aspects, one of the best players for me so far this season when he's been available. So going back to the whole thing about having, the whole squad ready and having selection problems, the thing about Billy and some of the other players who have had injuries is that I don't think Alex will hesitate to rotate when we get into these weeks where we have to play, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday again. they will be not dropped, but they will be replaced, and rightly so, because we need to keep our best players fit, and we can only do that by also, resting them and play others. So squad depth and quality in squad depth is so vital. But I think him, just going back to honourable mentions, Billy for me was definitely one of them. Aziz, of course, first start after coming back from his injury, very good. 1 assist, a fantastic goal as well. So, yeah, happy to see that. And then also Ballo, I think, had a really good game. Surprisingly good defensively and tactically, very astute, and really pleased for him to get an assist as well. Would love to see him get a bit more on the ball, but I think it will come with time. As when he gets to play more minutes and play more with his teammates. So I think I'd highlight these 3-4 players definitely.
Nice one. Cheers, Jesper. And just going on George Maidment's comment there as well. Isn't true that Mitchell's contract runs out in the summer? I've heard this. I don't know whether it's the same or whether any of you guys know this or any different, but I do believe the summer his contract is due for renewal. So surely a conversation needs to be had, George, doesn't it, with Billy Mitchell to try and secure his services on a longer contract?
100%, so important. We have to get him tied down for the future. He's one of Alex Neil's main men now, and you can see since he's come back in, just his energy, just everything. He's a Millwall fan. He's a Millwall's player, and certainly going forward under Alex Neil, he's extremely important. So very important that we get him tied down on a contract, which if he was offered, there will be no doubt he would sign it. But yeah, if it is running out this season, for sure, we have to get him tied down. Have to.
Yeah. Cheers, George. Is there any other honourable mentions, George? Any other players you felt that deserve a mention? Jesper mentioned about Billy Mitchell. You mentioned Ballo, that stood out for him as well. Zach Surge. Was there anyone that you felt deserves a mention from the performance on Saturday?
I think Luongo. I didn't actually go Saturday, did I? Luongo played, right?
Yes.
But in previous weeks, Luongo has been really important just because he's just a leader, isn't he? I thought we missed him against Coventry. Definitely. I think when we conceded against Coventry, you could see that the reaction from the boys, the heads went down, and then we conceded a second, we conceded a third, and the next thing you know, it was a fourth. And like Rob said, he's an unsung player. Luongo, he brings leadership, he brings that sort of tenacity and that intensity in the middle of the park, and the voice as well. He's been there. He's won League One. He's won the Championship, Premier League. Very vocal. So Luongo certainly was. It was a huge impact coming back as well. Sure.
And also, I do wonder, George, how important is Luongo to making us tick? Because I watched on Saturday, I noticed he took this position where he kind of sat just in front of the back four and almost kind of gave Billy the license to kind of just roam around the pitch, and do his thing. And of course, Billy can do that all day long. He's a very, very fit lad. But it just gave us that little bit of discipline, a little bit of structure that if we were to lose the ball, Luongo is always there to kind of mop up before we even got to our defence. So he kind of plays the system really well, doesn't he?
Yeah, just sitting in front of that back four, that's where you want him, because that certainly is his strength. Not so much going forward, but certainly sitting in front of that defence, or a bit of organisation, a bit of discipline. And so, like Rob said, he's 33, but he's still fit. And he's a really important player for us, so especially on a free transfer as well. I think he's been a really good, shrewd bit of business.
Very good. And of course, you hear players sort of talk about him in the change room, that he seems to be very much liked by the rest of the squad, which sort of says a lot about him as a person as well. Disco, coming to yourself next. Obviously, lots of mentions there for certain players, and I'm sure you agree with most of those. Is there anyone else that you feel needs honourable mention? I mean, what do you think of Josh Coburn starting in place of Ivanovic? Did he offer us a little bit more up front than Ivanovic, in your opinion? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, Joe. Look, I echo the thoughts the guys are saying about all those players. And look, before I go on to that, a great word that George used there about Billy, his energy is an example to the rest of the team. You start moving around and exert your energy into the game like he does. Just visually, you look and think this guy's right up for it, and he's involved in the game, and he is getting better and better. We need to sign. I can't believe we won't sign him up, and I'm sure we will do very, very soon. Luongo alongside him, solid as a rock, as you say. Great free transfer for us, and he's given us solidity and simplicity in the role that he undertakes. But yeah, I'm glad you said that, Joe. Coburn, he's had a lot of stick from the fans, and look, ultimately we want goals from him. I know that, but you also want your striker to really occupy the defenders, and he works his bloody nuts off, doesn't he? And we all say as Millwall fans, put 100% effort in, and we'll forgive technical failures
we'll
or
back
not
you, won't we?
scoring
Yeah.
the goal. Exactly. And Christ, there's no better example than Coburn, who absolutely, and then let's be honest, he don't get a lot of help from the refs, does he? Fuck me.
No.
Somebody mentioned the
one
ref.
of the guys mentioned it as well in the chat. I can't find the comment now, but he said exactly the same thing. How many times? 4 or 5 times. Defender was literally dragging him to the ground, all over him, but not one free kick. What's that about?
There was one where I think Carl Bates said on the commentary, "Oh, he's done him because he's got his arms round him." But the defender's got his arms round him here. What's he supposed to do? He gets no help. But we've said it on here before, and I'll say it again. Not to get himself in the book, but he needs to be more vocal to the ref. He has a little moan, but he needs to get in the ref's ear and say, "Fucking hang on a minute, ref. He's all over me here. You need to protect me a little bit," because he's the most unprotected striker in the league. But I think he's worth his weight in gold at the minute. Works his nuts off. He will get more goals. They'll come if he works like that and we play like that. He will get goals without a shadow of a doubt. So yeah, impressed with him. Look, I think the whole team, as I said before, all played well. Shouldn't forget Kramer again, very solid, I think it's been mentioned he made a few mistakes up. I see it. Look, nobody's faultless in a game. But I thought he looks really, really, really good. And him and Cooper are forming a nice partnership. But again, you then, poor old Taylor won't be getting a look in for a while, because I would have put him right back, but I'm not sure we need to, or we now know the reason for him not going right back. So the one thing I would point out to everybody, admirable mentions. We've literally said 8 players, I think, out of the 11, something like that. And that tells you great team performance. We've all got to get our heads round with the squad of players we've got and the players coming back. I think it was George again, or Jesper said, get ready for squad rotation. We will get, a Saturday, midweek Saturday. Don't
fresh
say,
legs.
oh, he's been dropped. They won't be dropped. It's rotation. It's fresh legs. Exactly.
I agree.
And if we've got players that can come in seamlessly and not affect the pattern of the team, etc., we're in a really good, solid, strong position.
Jesper, coming to yourself, mate. George made a good comment here. What about Bender? He's been up, he's been there's a bit of scrutiny on him at the moment, of his performances. Now and again he does pull off some nice saves, but there's that element of him where you feel, he's got an error or two in him. What do you make of his recent performances, and was he any better on Saturday? I know he didn't have much to do on Saturday. I think there was only one shot on target, was there? I think, from memory.
I'd rather talk about the game on Wednesday against Coventry, because before that game, I think he had some good performances and he had some half poor performances, but not super poor. But Coventry, I was very worried. He started to come for balls. He was nowhere near the ball. And first half they could have scored if I think he was half an inch offside. Otherwise it would have been 2-0 for a ball over his head that he completely misjudged. I think the second goal they scored, Coventry, he also flaps, his arms in the box somewhere, and the ball goes over his head. The guy nicks it across goal. I think it hits the bar right, and then Sims is there to put it in for 2-0. So it worries me. He worries me a little bit, I'd have to say. And from what I've heard, Lucas will only be back beginning of 2026, which is very unfortunate, but that's how it is with these Achilles injuries. You have to be careful not coming back too soon. But I'm a bit worried, and I think Steve alluded to it in the beginning as well. The one position I would have liked to see changed on Saturday was the goalkeeper position. And I know we're only 9 games in, and notoriously also with Lucas, Matisakis, God bless him, took a while to settle in. So I'd still give him, a little bit of leash and some credit. He's still got a bit of credit in the bank for me, but I've seen I've seen performances where I think this does not look good. But it also could be, he's been second goalie at Fulham for a while. He hasn't played regularly in a long time. It does affect you, when you have to come back and you have to play Saturday, Wednesday. So let's see. I'm not fully convinced that he should be completely dropped, but I've just seen worrying signs. That's all.
Not good. And also just a couple of mentions there from Phil Woody and Matt S61 George regarding George Evans, who's on loan at Hartlepool. I think they lost Hartlepool, but he was actually man of the match. If you look at Sofa Score, I think the website there, I think he made 5 crucial saves, and all these shots were inside the box. So it kind of shows you he was busy. Let's put it that way. And I think the scoreline could be a lot worse had he not been in goal. So for his debut, he's definitely won some plaudits there. What do you make of our goalkeeper situation, George? I mean, are you happy with Bender in goal? Do you think it's time for Max Crocombe to come in and before of course Jensen's fit in January?
I think we're crying out for Lucas Jensen to be fit again. Is what we're crying out for. I think Stephen Bender worries the living daylights out of me. Just to go off what Jesper said there.
A lot of people saying that. Yeah,
I don't see him. I don't see any redeeming qualities in a goalkeeper in him. I think. What
was that save? Did he put off a really good save? Was it against Sheffield United or Swansea away when it was that beautiful one-handed save that kind of passed by the post? He's got that in him though, isn't he, George? He's got those kind of world-class saves, just not consistent enough, maybe.
Yeah, but in the words of Roy Keane, he is just doing his job. His job is to save the ball.
Very true. Very true.
No, listen. When he was at Fulham, he was a second choice goalkeeper, and I know Fulham have been in the Premier League for a long while now. But you have to think as to why he wasn't featuring for Fulham more, or why he hasn't had other clubs looking for his signature. And someone just put in their comments there, he's only played a handful of games and he's only 27. I think it was something like 69 league appearances, and he's only 27. Which means that no club he's really been at previously has ever really rated him enough to be a number one. So we've brought him in. I know it's only a loan, and none of this would be happening if Lucas Jensen was fit. But I've just seen him make too many mistakes. He doesn't give the defense any confidence. He doesn't give me any confidence sitting in the crowd. So I don't know what it gives the defense any confidence. And Max Crocombe, I know he's never played at the Championship level, where Bender has had a handful of appearances playing in the Championship. Crocombe has never played in this league before, but at least he was a number one at I think it was Burton Albion before. At least he was a number one. At least he was playing regularly, and Burton Albion fans really rated him. And in the games he has played for Millwall, I think he's looked good. So if it was my personal choice, I would have Max Crocombe as the number one until Lucas Jensen is back. But once Lucas Jensen is back, is when I'll be happy, because we are missing him loads.
I'm for one is in agreement with you there, George. I'm sure many are as well. Disco, just want to get your thoughts on the big Bender. Is he deserving of his place at the moment? Do you think it's time to kind of put Max Crocombe in there, or what's your thoughts there? I mean, we're all thinking that we can't wait for Jensen to come back, but we're hoping that'll be in January. But who knows?
Just going back there, Joe, to Andy Roberts' point there on George Evans. Yeah, I think Andy, and I might be wrong, but what I've heard is he was injured on deadline day, so he couldn't, or around the transfer period,
right.
So he
true.
couldn't go out on loan. All right, so he couldn't go out on loan to higher standard, which is what was planned. So this is the only option, and at least he's playing first team football, which I think is great. And if he's getting man of the match, I didn't know that at the weekend. That's great news. And we'll only do him good. Look, I'm going to cut him a bit of slack, Bender. I feel I'm his biggest critic. I think, like all of you, he scares the frigging shit out of you, doesn't he? When he, especially coming for crosses, etc. Let's have it right. He's not absolutely disastrous. He's made some stunning saves, and I'll get shot down here, but I'll refer you to the offside chance at 3-0 on Saturday when they had a shot. The guy was point blank and he was out and saved it. That's not a fucking daft keeper. That's just...
And also, Disco, sorry to interrupt you, but Craig Jones' comment there as well, playing devil's advocate. Bender has saved us points this season against Watford and Sheffield United.
Exactly. So he's not... I would, but you and George, you're right. He's just doing his job, as Roy would say. But then again, it's a bit harsh for keepers, isn't it? Because fucking hell, they don't say they're shit, and if they do, you're doing your job, you know. But it's really another comment that was made before. It's really strange. We talk about squad rotation, and the one that seems to be exempt is fucking goalkeepers. They get away with it. And he was the one I think we were all saying for Saturday, got to change the keeper. And do you remember when Rowett made that, when he put Long in for Bart, when he made that drastic change and we changed formation and everybody, and he should have changed it back, but he never did. But that's history. But I thought we're going to have a statement change here, and he didn't. Now, so they must, the team, we have to trust Alex and the goalkeeping coach, who I know knows Bender well, etc. That they feel he's the right option at the moment. I think we're all mainly, I think I would change it. But look, he didn't do much wrong Saturday, so you can't pin much on him there. He just is a bit of a worry. When we're going to be in tight games, you can't afford a goalkeeper to make a cock up and cost you the game. So, look, I think the good thing from it is now with Jensen coming back, he is going to be so welcomed back with open arms, you know, even though there were a few who were sort of on the fence with Jensen, although he was winning them over slowly but surely. It's going to be like a hero's welcome, isn't it, when he comes back? And soon may that be, hopefully. Although, like you guys, I would try Crocombe for now. I wouldn't have a problem at all putting him in, you know.
I feel like just to go off what we're saying about Stephen Bender here, I still feel like when it comes to goalkeepers, one of the greatest traits you can have is just being consistent, just being 7 out of 10 every week. You make good saves and you don't make any mistakes. I don't feel like Stephen Bender is consistent. I feel like you'll have a game like Sheffield United where he was excellent. He made some really good saves and he was man of the match that day. But then he'll have other games like he did against Coventry. And then he'll have another game where he was against Norwich where he had a howler. So I feel like he's inconsistent. And with goalkeepers, one of the best traits you can have is just being 7 out of 10 every week. And I feel like Bender can have a 9 out of 10, and then he'll have a 3 out of 10. Then he'll have a 6 out of 10. Then he'll have a 1 out of 10. And that's not a good trait for me.
Agreed. Spot
on. I think the only thing I will say about the goalkeeping position is it's probably the position you want to change the least. You know, you want consistency in that goal. You don't want to play 2 or 3 games with Crocombe, then he makes a mistake, then Bender's in goal, because what does that do to confidence, you know, and a goalkeeper as well? So I think it has to be really, really poor before you decide to change your goalkeeper and then go with another one. So I don't think we are there yet where Alex Neil might think, well, I'm going to drop Bender and put Crocombe in. I think we as fans may see it that way. I don't think he sees it that way. So I think he will definitely be in goal against QPR again. And hopefully, you know, his confidence will grow, you know, and he will continue to improve and be a bit more consistent than he probably has been here in the first 9 or 10 games. So let's see. I think the jury's still out for me, but, you know, worrying signs, performances. I think it's just lack of consistency and maybe a lack of football in general from his side. You know, he played, I just looked it up, 26, 27 games for Swansea in the Championship of a period of 4 years, and since then he hasn't played much. He hasn't played for Fulham. He's had a few loan moves to Swindon and other League One teams. So, you know, the lack of football does that to you. It makes you look rusty, and I think that's also one thing we have to remember when Lucas comes back. You know, he's been out for a long time.
That's what I was going to say. What sort of player is he going to be when he comes?
Exactly.
Recovering from that injury, you know.
Yeah. So we have to be, you know, just wary of that when he comes back, that he may also be a bit rusty and needs to find his feet again. So yeah, let's see. But I don't think we'll see a changing in the goalkeeper position, not yet at least.
No.
And hopefully we won't.
Yeah. Look, hopefully we won't need to. I think it sounds like George is saying. I think it's pretty obvious now that Alex is saying Bender's the number one, and I'm going to stick with him unless he has either a real disaster or continued, you know, disasters. But I wonder, you talking before about Smallbone on loan, I wonder whether there's any kind of agreement with Fulham that, you know, we have to play him a certain amount of games. It does happen, doesn't it?
Good point. Very, very good point. And also, I'm a great believer. Sometimes you've got to listen to what the people inside the club say about certain players, you know, and you listen to sort of players talking, and a lot of them seem to have, you know, Bender in high regards. I'm not saying they don't like Crocombe, but he's one that's been talked about and mentioned quite often. And sometimes, yeah, the players know them better than we do, and if they have that trust in him or they like him better, perhaps, you know, they will choose him and they feel more confident him being in goal. You know, there must be some kind of play there, I think, you know, in the person and their personality as well. And he seems kind of fitting quite well, doesn't he, from the sounds of it. Will Smallbone, I want to get your guys' opinion on him, and I'm happy for any of you guys jump in first this one. I mean, he's a player with high reputation, you know, played for Southampton, you know, he's seen of a high caliber. He hasn't really got off to what we believe he can do yet, but a lot of that's down to fitness and him coming back into the first team. What do you make of Will Smallbone so far? And do you feel that maybe he's got the right to have that starting place? We talk about players like Negley, Bangura, Williams, Kundal that could play that 10. Is he the first choice in your opinion? I don't know who wants to go first on that one.
Sorry, Joe. I'm going to be really childish and play along with the immature comments that are coming in and say, would we put Smallbone behind Bender? I'm not sure right now, but some great comments coming in. Brilliant. But sorry, I think George or Jesper were going to come in there first.
Yeah, I think it's too early to really call him Will Smallbone, because the last time he was in the Championship with Southampton, he was really good for him. He put up some decent numbers, was a regular for him. Obviously, got promoted, was at Stoke previously. I think Will Smallbone will be a good player for us over the course of the season. He's obviously came in injured, which wasn't ideal, and he obviously can't get in the Southampton team. But Southampton have got a good squad at this level, so that's not saying anything. I think you've got to give him time. I think the jury's still out of him. I think he's had a few nice cameos. He came off the bench against Watford and had a few nice flicks, and then he started against Swansea and could have even scored a goal. Showed some really nice feet.
Take set pieces, don't he, as well, George?
Take set pieces, yep. So he's definitely got some rewarding qualities, and we've seen some good cameos. But where the squad is so competitive these days, who knows? But I think you've just got to give him a little bit of time. But I think he'll be a good player for us.
Yeah, cool. Anyone else want to jump in on that one?
Yeah, I think he's an asset. I think he looks quality. I don't think he's fit yet. You can tell. I don't think he's match fit or fully physically fit. So he's only going to get better. I think.
What did he get the last game? Was it 60 minutes he got? 65, I think it was. He started, didn't he?
67.
The game before, if I remember right, the game before
Swansea he started, didn't he? Swansea started.
Did he?
Didn't he?
I don't think he did. I think he might.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Did he? I know he got 30 minutes. Was it 30 minutes against Coventry? He came on.
He started against Swansea. He made his debut to Watford, where he got a few minutes, and I don't think he got any minutes against Coventry.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Yeah.
No, maybe not. Yeah.
And then
So we are kind of easing him in, aren't we? It seems at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you can tell that. But I think the guy, you can tell he's got quality on and off the ball, as Matt rightly says there. As you say, set pieces look pretty decent. And I'll tell you what really is important to me watching him. He's right up for it. And I know that sounds a bit stupid, but he's a lone player and he's in it. He's in it with the players. His body language, he's
committed, isn't he? Yeah,
he's committed. He's going to just get better and better and be a real asset. But I'm not sure he's a 10. This fucking 10 everybody raves about. I'm not sure. I might be old-fashioned, but I'm not sure he's a 10. But I'll let you guys decide that.
Yeah. Well, for me, there's only one number 10. I know I keep banging that drum, but for me, it's Ray's Bangura Williams. Yes, you could argue. I wouldn't call him a luxury player, but he suddenly can kind of play in that role and be creative. You give him that space, you give him that little pocket, and he can make things happen, can't he? You know. Other than that, maybe Negley. Kundal, I don't want to see him in the 10. He seems to get picked there quite often ahead of Negley and Race Bangura Williams. But I think a lot of that is for his defensive duties.
But my point is, Joe, do we need a 10 or do we need attacking midfielders? Do you get my point? And I know you might say, oh, it's the
Yeah.
same thing, but I think we get so hung up on this fucking 10 lark.
I think it's the formation we're playing, aren't we? We're playing that 4-2-3-1, then yes, the 10 fits in. But yeah, on Saturday, it felt like at times we were playing like a 4-3-3 formation, didn't we? Because Smallbone sort of did come a little bit deeper at times. Yes, he was being the supportive player for Coburn, but he did drop deep at times. So we did have that kind of free midfield, you know. But yeah, I think you could rely on your wide players, your Ballows and your Azizes and your fullbacks to try and create stuff. But really, you need that person in the middle that's going to make things tick. And I don't think we've got anyone other than RBW at the moment that can actually make that happen, you know. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Just going off Smallbone, you know, I think he will be a good player, but as I recall it, when he played for Southampton, he used to play in a deeper role, didn't he? Sort of an 8 or an 8.5 or what you'd call it. You know, he definitely didn't play just behind the striker. So for me, I don't know where his best position will be for us. But one thing I will say when we talk about the attacking midfielder or the 10 or whatever, I remember when I played amateur football that the most important thing for that number 10 or that attacking midfielder was when the ball came to the striker, it was always get in behind, get in and around the striker. I don't see us doing that. I think the reason why we're struggling at times also to score is because every time we get the ball, most of the play is happening in front of the opposition. We don't get in behind. The flick on is not met by anyone unless it's being, hooked the other way. So I'm really struggling to see. But I also get the fact that if you do run in behind and it gets cleared, there's a big space in there that needs to be covered by other teammates. But in general, I don't see any of our 10s doing that, and it sort of frustrates me sometimes. Going back to the Coventry game, and I'm not being high or anything, but I don't think we were as poor as some made it out to be. And I could see some of the interplay we tried to do, with quick 1-2s, etc., that didn't work, and we were trying to get in behind. And I want to see more of that, because if we're going to evolve as a team, we're going to need that. I think Smallbone could be one of the players who could
do that.
Who could do that. But I don't know whether he's a 10 or not. The only thing that frustrates me, of course, with Smallbone is he's a lone player. So if he does well, he'll go back to Southampton. We won't see him next season. He'll occupy a space for one of our other players. So that's the only the only negative thing I think. But we can't complain about his talent, and his qualities. It's good to have him here, and I think he will be a good player for us.
I just checked.
He's on international duty as well now with Republic of Ireland, so it'll be interesting to see how he does, because he's not played a whole lot of football prior to coming to us, and he's only got limited minutes, so he might start regularly for Republic of Ireland. They've got both Portugal and Armenia away and at home, so it'll be interesting to see where he plays.
Yeah, hopefully he comes through unscathed, but you're right, George.
If he plays
extra minutes in the bank,
How good was that comment from Jesper? That is exactly where even Saturday probably a better example. We haven't quite got it right. Bodies in the bloody box, do we? We do not get bodies in the box. The Yamaku, great cross against Coventry. There was 3 in the box, and they were all, not deep enough into the box. I watched Coventry obviously against us, and you watch them at the weekend against Sheffield. Fucking 5 or 6 players in the box every time they attack. That's how you get goals.
Although, Disco, I mean, I think we were guilty of that massively against Coventry so many times. I think I said before, when there was a chance to get balls in the box, there was no one in there apart from Ivanovic.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We don't get balls in the box.
And there was a time when I think Andrew mentioned on Andrew's analysis, if you haven't watched it, guys, make sure you watch Andrew's analysis every week. Really good. And there were times when balls were getting crossed in, going past Ivanovic, and Marco at the time was nowhere near that left post, was he? He was playing too deep. However, Andrew picked up on this week's analysis that when the balls are getting in the box, there were bodies in there. Ballo was in there. Sturge at the back post. That's our left back with winning headers at the back post. So I think Alex Neil's definitely
Smallbone for the goal.
Exactly. Although I think we could do better, I think there's been a massive improvement from the Coventry game compared to West Brom. That I think we did get more bodies in that box. Also, while you're talking, Jesper, I've just done some checking on the Coventry game. Smallbone did come on about the 73rd minute in that game. And in that game, he played in a more deeper role Because I remember thinking at the time he was actually getting on the ball when Coventry was all back in their box and parking the bus. He was actually getting on the ball and trying to make things happen, when he try to make things click. So he can play that 6-8 role, we want to call it, as well as number 10 role as well. So it's good to have that versatility, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Drop the 10, boys. Drop the 10. Go for a 6
Drop
and a
the-
half. 2
Go
eights.
for a 6.
Honestly,
2 8.
fucking 10. It's killing us. I'm telling you. Let's
3
change
2
it.
1. I feel like that guy's Max. What's his name? You asked about that, you Disco.
Yeah, I remember that one.
What's
Ted
it called?
Rogers. Ted Rogers. 3 2
Ted
1.
Rogers.
Yeah,
3 2 1. Yeah.
George is like, what the fuck?
What the hell are you talking about?
Not a Scooby. Not a Scooby.
No. Moving on, guys. I'm actually hates me to move on from performance on Saturday. We have to move on. Lone Watch. Adam Mayer winning Player of the Month for September for Neil Harris's Cambridge United. Obviously, he's playing left back for Cambridge. He scored 2 goals already. And he seems to be a real threat on that left side for Cambridge and getting real, big rave reviews at the moment from the press and fans. They all seem to be loving him, and his confidence is certainly building at the moment. What do you make of that loan move? And do you think that Adam Mayer is a player that can break into the first team when he comes back?
It's a good move for him, isn't it? Under Neil Harris at Cambridge. Obviously, Neil Harris previously worked with him at Millwall, and it was interesting how obviously Millwall was championship level, but he never really got a sniff under Harris. But say at Cambridge, he seems to be doing really well. He scored twice. He's now got Player of the Month for Cambridge. So yeah, it's a good loan move. He's obviously experienced in League Two. That's where he came from. He came from Morecambe when they were in League Two, and he was on loan at Bromley last season.
And he was smashing it at Morecambe, weren't he, at the time? And he was only 18. Yeah, he was only 18, and he was hotly tipped to do really well. Got good numbers for Morecambe in League Two. So. He's only ever played in League Two. He's never even played in League One before, and he's only played a handful of minutes for us in the Championship. But is it only a half a season loan, or is it a long season loan? I don't know. Good question. I thought it's a whole season. I could be wrong.
I think it'll be good for him to go out there go up to Cambridge for a whole season, because if it's half a season, you've got to recall him back, and second half of the season, our squad's too big these days. It's too competitive. Just staying in Cambridge for the whole season. If he does really well, great. Come next season, he'll have a much better chance of getting into our squad.
Yeah, good stuff. Anyone else want to jump in on Adam Mayer?
Yeah, I mean, as George just alluded to, I mean, I think the only thing that frustrates me is maybe that he didn't get a League One move to see if he could also flourish at that level, because as we know, he was a good player in League Two, and going back now is not sort of a step forward. It's good for him to get playing time.
It's his sort of comfort zone again, isn't it? A little bit.
It is exactly. So it's good to see that he's doing well, but again, it's League Two. It's not League One. It's not the Championship. So we'll see when he comes back. But senior playing time and growing as a person as well is also important. He's moved away from home. I believe he is from Morecambe, that area, isn't he? So
Morecambe.
Very deep Scouse accent.
Yeah. So, but to change environment and having to play in a new club as well does do something to you as a person, and that can help him as well. But I would have liked to see him, play maybe at a higher level in the League One. So, but I believe that loans can be changed, or is it a permanent sort of season-long loan move? Or
I think it all depends if there's a recall on the agreement. We don't know whether there's a recall on there, but if there is a recall, we can bring him back.
I was just wondering. Sometimes you do see clubs coming in the January window. Maybe I'm just throwing out a Bolton side saying, okay, we want to loan him. Then you take him back and you loan him out. You've seen that before. I don't think it will happen, but. If it happened, it would be good for him maybe to test himself there. So but no, good for him. Good to see he gets playing time and he's playing regularly like he did at Bromley. So all good. Whether he will cut it here is a different story. I guess we'll have to wait and see. There's a lot of players in his position, isn't there, in front of him at the moment. So one more play we'll discuss in a minute. But Disco, what's your thoughts on Adam Mayer? When he was at Morecambe, their coaches were singing his praises. They were actually calling him the next Bell. And that's how good they rated him. Because of his, he's very athletic, he's very direct, he's quick, he's powerful, strong for a young 18-year-old. It's great that he's doing well there, but in all seriousness, can he get back into this squad? Can he take a place in our team?
Well, I think the reason we signed him, and somebody said in there it was Joe Edwards who signed him, or during his tenure, and I think it was his links to getting in the England setup, wasn't it? He got in at youth level or under 18s, whatever.
Yeah,
he was at the England level, so he's obviously got something about. I always like the look of him. I also like the fact that he was a young lad, had played men's football in Div 2, will be a tough introduction to football, and he had a yellow card in him, so he liked to get stuck in. Probably had a bit of an attitude, which I don't mind. I feel sorry that he's never really got a go, but you look at it now. Where would he fit in right now? No chance. So
it's so hard. This season,
absolutely the right move. Maybe, as you say, Div 1 would have been better for him, but and I don't know, Jesper, it's a really good point. There seems to be different loan options, doesn't there? Sometimes it's for the full season, sometimes it's till Christmas, sometimes it's optional to change it or recall or somebody else come in. So I guess it's all down to what the deal that has been done, but I'm absolutely delighted to hear he's doing well. I'm not hugely surprised. And I presume he's playing left wing, is he, for them, rather than?
I think he's playing left back. He's playing left back.
Is he? Is he?
Yeah, he's playing left back.
Somebody said Edwards signed him as I think Rob T said
as a left wing back. Yeah,
but I thought he came in as a left winger. He was a left winger for.
Well, we signed him. We signed him as a left winger. And then what happened was, I think he filled in at left back for the under-21s, and he was man of the match. And everyone's going, "Wow, what a player!" And I think he carried on playing there 2 or 3 times. Then he broke into the first team, and I was actually at this game. It was a Coventry game in the Cup, the League Cup. And he played left back that game, and I thought he was brilliant. He was solid, worked hard, got up the pitch as well, and looked really decent. And of course, not long after that, he then went out on loan, didn't he, to Cambridge? But I see him as future being a left back, left wing back, what you want to call it,
Yeah,
I think for Bromley, he definitely played mostly on as a left back. But just looking at the last 4 or 5 games of Cambridge, he played as a left winger in sort of in a 4-2-3-1. Yeah, he did. Yeah, even on the right wing at one point. Yeah.
Interesting. And Robert's just here. May have played left wing last game, so maybe he has been utilised in a more attacking position. But getting nominated for player of the month award for Cambridge, he's obviously doing something pretty well there. One of the comments that came through here earlier, if I want to see if I can find it, is from Philip. Let's talk about Howland. He's better than all of those. The point I'm making there is, yes, we could talk about Howland, but we could talk about a lot of players. We could talk about Howland, that's not getting at the moment. We could talk about Kamal Grant, who's not getting at the moment. Yeah. Kelly, not getting at the moment. RBW, we talked about already. Lamptey. I mean, how good was Lamptey in pre-season? Everyone's saying about him breaking into the team. Sheldon Kendall. There's so many players at the moment that Andrew Matthews not getting a look in at the moment. Dare I say
are they fit, though, Joe? Are they fit, some of them? I've not seen their names in the 21s. I might be wrong. Lovelace, another one.
Yeah, good point. I haven't seen.
Where is Lovelace?
Well, don't tell me he's injured
make
again.
An appearance and he's gone AWOL again. But I don't know. Do we know? Is he being rested or is it another injury?
In the under 21 game against Watford, and I will try and get it up here because I was looking at it earlier. Hang on, let's have a quick look. There was lots of these players that weren't actually in the squad. So you talk about all the players we just mentioned there, and when I look at the squads, let's see who they were. There were
the matchday squad,
the matchday squad, typically they're not printed.
I saw Sheldon Kendall scored, didn't he?
Yes, he was definitely.
Ben Drake played.
Drake, yeah.
Was there anyone else there?
RBW, we've mentioned.
RBW,
wasn't he?
Yeah. Frankie Baker was on the bench, wasn't he? Frankie Baker was on the bench, so he didn't start. And I think the reason why he didn't start was, could I be right in thinking that AJ Matthews started up front? I think on that one, possibly.
Bloody Millwall's website lineups not available.
It's a bit poor, isn't it? But no, the point I'm making is there's lots of these big talented youngsters we're talking about that are not even featured for the under-21s at the moment. So what's happened to them?
So Yeah, Joe, Millwall Academy.
Yeah, on Twitter.
Yeah,
You got it on Twitter, yeah?
That's
Yeah,
fine.
AJ Matthews started.
He did,
Kamal
yeah.
Grant, captain.
Yeah.
Kamal
Oh,
Grant.
Kamal Grant did start. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Howland started.
But I
Yeah.
think, Joe, in
Yeah.
all fairness, the club started sort of this new project, last season. We recruited over 30 players. That includes some younger players as well. So you're trying to create now a foundation, a base where you can maybe pick some players from the under 21s in the seasons going forward. We're still only 1 year and a few months into this. I don't know if you call it a new project sort of phase. So we still have players coming through. The likes of AJ, Messi, Howland, Lamptey, they've only turned 19 this year. They're very, very young players. Could be a while before we sort of see them in the starting, if not the starting lineup, then at least in the match day squad. So we need to be patient with these guys, and they could go out on loan. I reckon some of them in January if there's a good loan move to be made. But what I will say about Jack Howland, I remember I saw him. I saw that they were going to transmit I believe it was the under 18 FA Cup. Was it semi-final against Chelsea or something? It was on there.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and I thought when I saw him, he was the only one that really stood out. And I thought that guy's got something about him. He's got great technique, great close control. The way he drives for the ball. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw him this season, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get that many games as maybe other things he will. So he's one I hope who could maybe get a loan move in January. Would be very good for him and could be very exciting for us as well when he comes back.
And I thought he done excellent in Spain, didn't he? He done really well in the pre-season. I think he done really well against Palace when he came on as well.
Yeah,
we'll talk about the way he got involved in that. And I think when you listen to Kevin Nugent as well, the under-21s manager, he tends to give him a lot of praise. He talks a lot about how he likes him. He talks about, Race Bangor Williams, talk about his attitude and how good he is. And I think these players that do get mentioned are the ones that I think are being kept an eye on by the coaches. And I think they watch them very, very closely. They're the ones that are trying to push through and try and nurture through into the first team. So, they're still young. Again, mentioned there by Flacky, Benico Baker.
Yeah.
BBB. What's happened to him? He's kind of gone off the radar now because he looked really good. And I think I watched the game against Huddersfield on 21s recently when he came on, and he was like almost unplayable in that game. But then I heard, rumours that he's fallen out with someone. He's not involved, and so who knows? It just seems very hard to work out what's going on there, isn't it? With our youngsters at the moment.
Yeah. It's a mix, isn't it? It's like you say, Howland ordinarily. In the old days, he'd probably at least be in our squad and be getting some minutes.
Yeah.
But now with the strength in depth we've got, difficult to say.
Is that a good thing though, Disco? Is that a good thing? Because you're right. I remember going back into late 90s when we were really struggling financially, and we brought in the players like Stephen Reed, Paul Ifill, and all these youngsters that were breaking into the team. Even before then, we look at the other era under Mick McCarthy. We had like Mark Kennedy, Andy Roberts, Ben Thatcher. These are youngsters that weren't that amazing when they first come through, but they had 10, 20 games and they became real good players. Right. Now, this was different times back then. We didn't have no money, did we? There was a reason why Paul Goddard was our highest transfer fee in God knows how many years. But the point I'm making is the fact we're in a much better position financially and we're attracting big players and paying big wages, is it now to the detriment to our youngsters that they're not coming through? We're not going to unearth the next Ben Thatcher, the next Mark Kennedy, the next Paul Ifill, the next Stephen Reed, because it's just so hard for these youngsters to break through.
Yeah, that's the point I was making. It's a real challenge, isn't it? When you've got this strength in depth, it's going to be more difficult to bring these, as I say, these youngsters through without a doubt. But look, much as we all say, stick them out on loan, that's good for their development. But, you think, hang on a minute, part of it is we want to see them play, etc. So, look, fine balance, but stand by your beds. George has already mentioned it. We've got players away on international duty. Yeah. I don't want to be the doom monger here.
We don't want to jinx it, do we?
Absolutely amazed if we don't come back after the international break and have 2 or 3 injuries that we didn't have at the moment. It'll happen. Look, through playing at internationals or at training. So you need a big squad, and then some of these youngsters might get in these, on the bench, etc.
Yeah. I agree. Should we move on, guys? We're coming to the 80th minute now, so last 10 minutes of the show as we approach 90. our next game is not until Saturday, the 18th of October, 12:30 kickoff at Loftus Road, where Millwall play away to QPR. Again, one of these London derbies where tickets sold out very, very quickly. I couldn't get my ticket. Unfortunately, I was about 10 points short of getting tickets for that one, so I'm a bit gutted. What can you do? But what do you make of this derby? I mean, they tend to be really, really sort of close affairs, especially at Loftus Road against QPR, George. And we tend to have a good travelling support for those games as well. It's certainly a game that I'm gutted to be missing. But they're doing well, QPR. They're winning games, they're scoring goals, especially at home. How do you see that game going?
I'm a bit disappointed they haven't given us the bottom tier. Whenever we bring really good followings, sometimes they open up the bottom tier. Obviously, they haven't opened up to away fans this time around. But we'll just have the top tier. Sorry, and I'm sure we'll make a great noise, good atmosphere as always, because it's a nice local one for some of us. But yeah, QPR are having a solid season so far. I think they're currently sitting inside the top 6, aren't they? They're up there anyway. It's just above where we are. So they signed Richard Kone in the summer from Wickham.
Yeah,
and
that's a great signing for them. He's someone who I would love for us to sign, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would have loved it. I would have loved Millwall to sign him. He's really hit the ground running at QPR, and he scored quite a few goals. And he's hotly tipped to goal.
How much did he sign for, Kone?
I think it was about 4 million. I could be wrong.
4 million.
I think it was about 4 million.
So you think about the players that we spent for that kind of money, the likes of Negleys and your Coburns, I guess. He could have been that player, but it is what it is now. And we've got other players that can fill in, I suppose.
Yeah,
but
player with future value, which is very much what their strategy is.
Yeah. Very much so. And again, he absolutely smashed it in his last club, and he's still doing well, a level above in the Championship now as well, which is good. So fair play to him. They seem to make some good signings. Disco, Jesper, don't also jump in next about the QPR game. What's your thoughts on that? And again, could there be another squad rotation? I think it all depends on international comebacks now, doesn't it? And how things go. Jesper?
Yeah, I don't think there will be too much rotation. I don't hope so. Then I think it will be due to injuries or something like that. But we need some continuity now. I think most of the players from Saturday deserve to start again, and we'll have a 2-week break now, so the players can get some rest, except for those who are on international duty. I think it will be a tight game. It usually is when we go to Loftus Road. We haven't won many, as I recall it, in the past many years.
No, that's right.
The only game that springs to mind, I think, is the Gary Rowett game where we won 2-0, where Ollie Bird scored.
Is that when Jed Wallace scored? That's one of the first games of the season, I think, wasn't it?
No, that was...
That was the first game back after COVID. The one we won was 2-1. Ollie Burke scored, and I can't for the life of me remember who scored in the first half, but we did go
in the chat. I'm sure someone in the chat will know who it is.
Yeah, I was going to say Sean Hutchinson, but no, it wasn't him.
Guys, if you know the answer, put it in the chat. Help us out.
Was it Fleming? Was it Fleming? Oh, Fleming. I think Fleming assisted.
Another lone player. No,
Was it?
No, I might be wrong.
Duncan Watmore.
Watmore scored there last season, and it finished 1-1. Oh no, but he scored he scored that year as well.
Yeah. There you go. Good memory, guys. Good memory.
So it will be a tight affair, and as we pointed out a few weeks ago, the first game after the internationals for us has been dreadful. So I think we'll have to cross our fingers that we come away with. Yeah. I don't know why it's a strange monkey to have on our back, this one, I think, but we need to come away with something also, so we can sort of continue the improvement from the last performance. So we'll be up for it. Fans will be up for it. It should be a good derby.
Yeah. How do you see the I guess the game plan be for this one? Do you see us sort of sitting back, catch him on the break, or we're going to go out at him? How do you see the two styles kind of colliding?
Yeah, I think we're going to play more or less like we have done away from home. I think we're going to go at him, That's where I think that's where Alex Neil has probably done his best job is away from home. We've gone to places and won where we haven't won in a long, long time. We've won at Ellen Road, twice at Bramall Lane. We've gone to Carrow Road and won, and we seem to take on teams that we haven't done before, which is very positive. So at the moment, I feel more confident when we play away from home. than when we actually play at the Den. It's just my feeling. Even though we won 3-0, we still lost, 3 games where we haven't scored. So
we've got an impressive away record at the moment, haven't we?
We haven't lost away from home, and I think we have to remember, since we came back up to the championship, there were a lot of seasons where we had to wait until November, December to get our first away win. We were horrendous on the road. We were very good at home, but we really struggled away from home. Now it's the opposite, and I think that's the most frustrating part. You think, yes, we got that sorted now, the away form, and then we go home and then we lose 2, 3, 4-0, and you think, what the hell is going on here? So I'm positive going into the game. It's just a matter of how we approach it after the internationals, I guess.
Yeah, and who would you pick in the starting line with everyone available? I mean, is it too early? I mean, there's rumours that Kasper de Noor's back after the international break. Doughty could be back as well. Would you put these guys straight in? I guess you can't really. I guess they've got to start on the bench, don't they? But if everyone being fit, what would you go for as a starting level? Would you go for the same team as we did against West Brom, I guess?
Well, this is an interesting topic, right? Because I personally don't feel like even Alex Neil knows what Millwall's best team is, because we've got so many big players. He never names an team because we've had X and Y amount of injuries. I don't even think Alex Neil knows what Millwall's best team is. But I think Kasper de Noor and Billy Mitchell is probably our best middle two. But you can't really drop the one goal at the moment because he's been playing so well. And de Noor might be back in training for a few more days, and he gets 2 weeks more on the training pitch. But
I wonder, George, if de Noor and Doughty, whether there's any under 21 games. I'm pretty sure there is before the 18th. Whether they get I don't know, 60 minutes in those games, maybe.
You'd think so.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? Before bringing to the first team, you don't think so? Sorry.
No, I do. You
do. Yeah. So that'd be interesting. And if they come through that with flying colours, another interesting point is, how does Doughty get into his team at the moment? Yeah, would you put him ahead of Zach Sturge? Does he now play as a left winger? In that case, does it mean that Ballo loses his position? Can
he play goal?
You might bloody have to at this point, really. But the point we're making is, though, obviously there's a lot of competition at the moment.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable.
Well,
there's one. There's Andy saying like Alfie play right back. I don't think he will, but I do remember him playing at right wing though for Luton, and he can play that position. So it's not. I don't think Alfie is tied down to the left side. I think he can go on the right as well.
Against us, didn't he? If I remember right, they played 3-5-2 formation. He plays a wing back, but he was the right side of left-footed wing back. It felt a bit weird, but he was quite effective. But can he play as an out-and-out right back? I don't know. I don't think. Well, your left-footed is very difficult to play that right side, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless we have injuries, I don't see, that you have to rush. And I love Doughty and Kasper, obviously. I don't think you need to rush them unless we've got injuries. Then you bring them straight in. You're probably going to have them on the bench, which, wow, what a strong bench we've got. Is Luongo away on international duty? Or is he with Australia or not?
He's actually retired from international duty. He
hasn't. Sorry, thanks, George. So he'll have had a nice rest. I mean, how do you drop him right now? Look, how do I see that game going, Joe? I think hopefully, and I'm sure we'll give them more of the ball, which I'm fine with, because we seem better like that. I actually think, despite us winning Saturday, this is a better international break for us than it is for QPR. They're flying, and you've suddenly got the brakes on for 2 weeks, few players away on international duty, etc., etc. I think that'll work in our favour. I might be wishful thinking, but look, at tough game, and probably your head would say a draw, heart a win. But I think this does us more favours than them, despite Jesper's statos of how bad we are. But you're right, we are. It's unbelievable, isn't it? We are so poor.
It is.
But maybe this is the time to change it, which would be great. It's a great away day, isn't it? QPR.
And Steve, it's not just the fact that we haven't won, after the internationals. It's actually the matter of how poorly we've played after these games has really concerned me. Like, how come we can be so good before the break, and then straight after we piss poor? Not in every game, but many games we've really struggled to come out the traps. That's been so worrying.
Agree.
Guys, we're approaching the 90th minute, so you know what I'm going to ask you now. I'm going to ask your score predictions for the QPR game. And guys in the chat, put your score predictions in there. If you remember last time, we voted for 1-1 being the most sort of common predicted scoreline. I actually put a £10 bet on Saturday for 1-1, and I wasn't disappointed. We won 3-0, of course, but we were wrong that time. So guys in the chat, you've got to work a little bit harder, think a bit harder. So no one's going to get.
Did anybody approach you and talk about Chris's cock? No one
got a free point. No. So, guys in the chat, put your score predictions, and we're going to go with the most sort of common one that we're going to get, and I'll try and pick one out, and I'll put a bet on for QPR. But let's go to you guys first. What's your prediction, guys, for the QPR game? I'm saying this because I don't think we're going to do a live show next week. So let's try and get the prediction now. Who wants to go first?
I can. I think we'll win. I think we'll win 2-1. I think we're gonna get the monkey off our back. I think we're gonna win after the internationals, and I think Bala will get his first goal, and I think Ivanovic will score.
Yeah. Okay. 2-1 to Millwall. Yeah.
I think Millwall are going to win 1-0. Both of our wins away from home this season have both. No, sorry, we beat Norwich 2-1. Ignore that completely. But we beat Sheffield, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think it'll be a 1-0 win, and I think I'm going to go with. I feel like every week I feel like going with an outlandish goal scorer. Like Tristan Kramer's not scored this season. He's not scored a goal for Millwall at all. How about that?
No. Yeah. Okay, and then Disco, how about yourself? So we've got 2-1, a 1-0 from George. How about yourself?
My head is saying a bore draw of 1-1, but I'm going with Jesper's positivity of the post international break hoodoo. I think we will win 2-1, and even better than that, I think Mihailo Ivanovic will come off the bench and get the winner, and that'll be him back in business. Definitely,
nice one. Let's see what the chat say. So, guys, keep your eyes peeled for the scoreline. So see which one comes up more frequently. So, Rob T is going to go for 4-2. Mark saying 3-0. John is going for 1-1. 3-1 to Mill from Andy. Colin's going for 2-0. 2-2 for lovely Rosalind. 3-2 George for Millwall. Mark Murphy 2-0 Millwall. 2-1 from Alex. Ben DeViva saying 1-1. Jeff Cook saying 3-1. 3-0 from Bazza. 2-2 from Chris Brown. Flitch going for 2-2. Can you see any scores there that seem to be quite repetitive? Carl Brace going 2-1. 2-0 Millwall. 2-1 from Roger. 2-1 from Craig.
That 2-1's a one, isn't it? I think.
Bend their own goal. Let's hope not. I think 2-1. We go for 2-1. Are we saying 2-1?
That looks my favourite. Yeah, that's the favourite.
Yeah, and George went for 2-1, didn't you, George, as well?
Right, we have 1-0, but 2-1. 1-0, 2-1, yeah.
Oh, you said 1-0.
I originally said 1-0, yeah.
Jesper, you said 2-1, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
You did 2-1. So we've got a lot of 2-1s there. So I think I'm going to put a cheeky bet on a 2-1 then. £10 2-1. Don't know what the odds will be on that one, but be interesting to see how that maps out. So, guys, that's pretty much the end of it. We've reached 90 minutes. We're 3 minutes now into injury time. So all I'll do is thank Jad and Joe. Let's not give them another plug to these guys. Mill supporters, Mill fans. There you go. There's the link in the chat there once again. If you just joined us, these are two Millwall fans, Jad and Joe, that will be cycling from Millwall to Paris to raise lots of money for HIS charity. So that is a mental health charity. It's spreading great awareness, and it stands for Help Information Support. Two big Millwall fans. So guys, if you've got it in your heart to donate anything, couple of quid, 3 quid, 4 quid, 5 quid, 10 quid, what you can manage, please do so. And hopefully we can help these guys raise a bit more money, because it's going to be quite a grueling challenge for them, cycling all that way. And with respect, they don't look like Mark Cavendish in that kind of physique. So I know it's going to be quite a big battle for them. So fair play to these guys. They're big guys, and they're doing what they can to try and help for a very good cause. So definitely.
What is the distance actually? I haven't looked it up. What is the distance actually from London to Paris?
Interesting. Well, I know I did London to Brighton, and I'm pretty sure it's like 55 miles. I think it was. So I'm guessing it's probably double that, isn't it? I would imagine, if not further. I noticed Hassan Sturgis' goal was to yours, Joe, exactly the same end. It wasn't the same end. Shall I show you? Shall I show you my one?
No.
No. Oh, okay. I won't do that to you. But no, look, guys, thanks so much, and thank you to you guys, our co-host this evening, to Disco Steve, to TikTok George, and the Danish Destroyer Jesper. Disco, anything you want to say before we wrap up? Before we end?
No, delighted that we bounced back on Saturday. That was an important win for us, wasn't it? Because a bit frustrating that everybody got so down so quickly. Understandable, but some of the rhetoric that was coming out was a little bit OTT, and we were all getting a bit worried. So I think we just need to look. It's easy to say, I know, but we get too high when we win and too low when we bloody lose. But I guess it was the manner of it and some of the funny decisions, etc. But look, let's have a nice break. I would just forewarn people. Look, one, I don't want to be a doom monger. Let's realise there's still going to be injuries along the way. And the reality is, if we have a full squad, we're going to upset, favourites who you think should be in the squad, etc., etc. We've got to trust Alex and understand we're going to be stronger for it. And let's go to QPR and get a win would be great when we come back.
Let's hope so. Cheers, Disco. Thanks for being with us this evening. Jesper, final words from you. Anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Just happy to be back on. Always a pleasure and always good fun. Really happy to see that we performed well on Saturday, and let's hope that this is the start of a very good season now. Really looking forward to the QPR game now, and should be a good atmosphere. So safe travel to all those who go. And I'll be watching from my TV. Should be on telly here actually, not the Millwall TV. So yeah. No, thanks for having me, and take care. Everyone.
Nice one. Cheers, Jesper.
Are we the main game on Sky?
Yes,
the way?
we are.
Are we main? That's
early kickoff, 12:30 kickoff. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah. Same to yourself, Jesper. Thanks for coming on. And then, lastly but not least, George, thanks for coming on, mate. Any final words from you before we say goodbye to our listeners and wrap up?
Yeah, just a short one from me. Say again, thank you for having me on. Loved it again. Been really enjoyable show. And roll on QPR. Should be a good atmosphere. I'll be going, so if you're going, I'll see you there. And quickly, I'm going to quickly plug my TikTok. If you're on TikTok, please check me out. It is at george.c9 on TikTok. I've recently started up a new series known as Lion's Eye View, where practically every home game I go down a den, and I'm very fortunate enough to be able to sit in the press box. So I do an instant post-match review live from the press box with my little microphone. And afterwards as well, I also do like an overview of the day as well and my experience and everything. So, on TikTok, George.c9.
So again, so it's George?
At George.c9.
.c9. So if I put that in there, that should come through now. So guys, if you're familiar with TikTok and you use TikTok, there you go. There's TikTok George. It's at George.c9. Make sure you're following him. And watch his content. It's got some really good stuff on there. So there you go. Look, guys, that's it from us. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. We will speak to you after the international break. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. And we'll see you very, very soon. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Hi, it's Steve Morrison here, and you're listening to Chat with Chaps, chatting Millwall, come rain or shine.